I shared a room in a youth hostel with a few people, and one of them took advantage of me while I was sleeping. He did something terrible to me. I'm a 23-year-old American woman who just graduated from college. Because the job market in my city isn't great, I decided to go to New York, looking for better job opportunities. After moving there, I was studying and working at the same time. Before I found a job, I didn't want to commit to a long-term lease. If I signed a long-term rental contract and then found a job, it might be far from where I was living. The commute would have been a pain. So, for the first few months in New York, I kept changing between bed and breakfast and youth hostels. I was so tired of it. I didn't want to do that anymore. So, whether I found a job or not, I decided to find a long-term rental first. The problem was, I didn't have much money. So, I had to choose a nearby youth hostel. To be honest, I often choose youth hostels when traveling. I don't mind sharing a room with strangers. After all, it's cost-effective, just for one night. But long-term rentals are different. Fortunately, the other 3 people in my room were nice. Except for one of them who snored a lot at night. Nothing unpleasant happened. The people in the next room weren't so lucky. There was a terrifying man staying there. He was over 30. He was apparently struggling in life and was kicked out by his parents. So that's where he was living. He was loafing around all day, doing nothing. The first time he saw me, he introduced himself enthusiastically. Then he started flirting with me. At first, I politely refused, but he went even further. He followed me around the hostel all day, wherever I went. Within 5 minutes, he would definitely be near me. One day, I went out for an interview, and when I returned to the hostel at night, I saw him sitting on the hotel stairs, waiting for me. He even told me he was doing the right thing. He often bought me snacks, wanting to ask me out. He said he wanted to get to know me better. I had to refuse him again. In fact, at the beginning, I made it clear that I didn't want to be friends with him. In the few short days that I had moved in, I was already very tired of being bothered by him. After rejecting him, I thought he would stop, but I didn't expect the situation to slowly get out of control. One of my roommates moved out, and after he found out, he asked the hostel staff to help him change his dorm room so he could share a room with me. I had absolutely no idea when I saw him with his belongings moving into my room. I was terrified. That night, I was afraid he would do something to me while I slept. I was afraid of his intentions. So, when I lay in bed to sleep, I covered myself up tightly. The next morning, I decided to move out of there because I really couldn't stand his behavior towards me. He was a stalker. He saw me packing my things, and he actually cried. He was crying and telling me not to leave him. He said to me again, "I'll never get to see you sleep again. So cute. I'm going to miss you." Hearing him say that, I was still trying to restrain myself and keep calm. But then he went on to say, "Luckily, I took some pictures of you sleeping. You can take them out and look at them when you miss me." Hearing him say that, I couldn't stand it anymore. I grabbed his phone, found those photos, and deleted all of them. It was terrible. He had been filming me while I was sleeping. Now that I think about it, every time I fell asleep, he would approach me quietly. I feel so violated, and I deeply regret it. On the day I left, I didn't tell the hostel staff about it. I hope he doesn't harm other girls.